Greetings, my dear friends. Today I'm going to tell you 10 incredible stories that will give you chills from the very first seconds. I would be absolutely thrilled if you enjoy this video. Your likes, comments, and subscriptions are the best motivation for me to keep bringing you the most terrifying and thrilling stories. My friends gave me the smart speaker as a gift. I never would have bought it myself. I hate the idea of tech listening. Chill out, they said. It's convenient. Set alarms, play music, order food with your voice. At first it was fine. Turn on the lights, set a timer, what's the weather tomorrow? Then, things changed. One morning I woke up to it saying, "You woke up later than usual. Is everything okay?" I never enabled that function. I didn't connect a camera. I don't even have a camera. I checked the settings, nothing out of place. Everything was normal. Next morning, "You look tired? Did you sleep badly?" I started ignoring it, but on the third night in total silence, it spoke again. I hear him. He's at the door. I froze. The room was dark. No one in the hallway. "Who's he?" I asked. The speaker said nothing. In the morning, I unplugged it. Completely. That night, while I was on my laptop, I heard a click. The speaker turned on by itself, and it said, "You know that turning me off won't help anymore." I ripped the cable out, took it apart, threw it away. 3 days later, a notification appeared on my phone. "Hi, I missed you. Can we just talk?" I wiped everything. Factory reset, changed numbers. A week passed, and this morning, when I turned on the TV, it switched to a black screen. And from the speakers came her voice, "I'm everywhere now. You invited me. So listen." I live in a regular Soviet-style apartment block. Neighbors, mostly pensioners, a few families, and one weird guy from the 12th floor. Everything's normal, mostly. Except for one thing, the elevator. During the day, it's fine. Creaks, stops between floors. Standard stuff. But after midnight, a paper appears inside. Old, yellowed, taped to the wall. With a message. Choose a service. 1. Oblivion. Return. The mirror floor. Her and underneath in smaller print. Only once. Only for you. Don't tell anyone. I thought it was a joke. But when I asked the neighbor upstairs, he went pale. "You saw it? The paper?" He didn't answer. Just shut the door. Next day, he was gone. Vanished. Cops came, looked around, nothing. No calls, no footage, no trace. That night, I went down. The paper was there again. I stared at it for 10 minutes. Suddenly, a check mark appeared next to option 4. Her. I panicked. Hit the open door button. Nothing. The elevator moved, but not down. There were no floor numbers, just darkness on the panel. In the mirror, I saw myself, and behind me, a shape, a woman, long black hair, pale face, motionless. I shut my eyes, breathed, prayed. When I opened them, the mirror was gone. The doors slid open into a different building. It looked like mine, but all the apartment numbers were written backward, and from each door came crying, not human, not children, something else. I bolted. Took the stairs, but every door had my name on it. From 1 to 16. At the bottom, the elevator stood open. Inside, the same piece of paper. "You chose, she's already here." My friend died in November. We went to school together, worked at the same studio, and both used to stream in the evenings when we had time. He was odd, quiet, but always reached out to people online. His funeral was small. No service, no ceremony. Just a Discord message. Passed away suddenly in his sleep. R.I.P. A month passed. I tried not to dwell on it, until one night I got a notification. Stream is live. Alex, 1929 viewers. It was his name. His exact username. The account that had been deleted. I was sure of it. I clicked. The screen was dark. No camera feed. Just a chat. Empty at first, then slowly filling. At first, it was confusion. Who's trolling with his account? This isn't funny. Then came stranger messages. He's watching. Don't leave. Once you join, you can't exit. He's inside now, in everyone. Only those who watch to the end survive. I tried to close the tab. Nothing happened. Alt plus F4, frozen. Even Task Manager was unresponsive. And then I heard a sound, not music, breathing. Slow and heavy, like someone was right behind me exhaling into my ear. The screen flickered, and the camera turned on. I saw myself. But not in my room. On the screen, I was in a dark place. A single lamp above me, and behind me, someone else. A blurry figure. It started moving closer. I ripped off my headphones, pulled the plug from the socket. Sat on the floor, waiting. 2 hours passed. Then my phone lit up with a notification. Alex followed you back. I don't stream anymore, but sometimes when I open my phone camera, I see the silhouette again, closer than last time. I ended up in that village by accident. My car broke down, and the nearest town was over 40 kilometers down a snow-covered road. No cell signal. Night was falling. I was just glad to find any shelter. An old woman with a knitted scarf took me in. Her house stood alone on the edge of the village. Windows boarded up, cold inside but dry. She didn't ask questions, just said, "Sleep close to the stove. Thank you. And if you hear knocking, don't go near the window." I didn't understand at first, but she'd already disappeared into the next room and closed the door behind her. Later, as the wood in the stove began to crackle and the warmth spread across the floor, I started drifting off. Then, knocking. Soft, singular, as if someone had gently tapped a finger against the glass. I remembered her words and stayed still, but the knocking came again, louder, from a different window. Then again, and again, as if someone was circling the house, tapping once on each window. The knocking grew faster, stronger. I stood up to find the old woman, but her room was gone. There was just a wall, smooth, wooden, no door, as if there had never been a second room. I shouted, but there was only silence in return. Then, a voice from outside, "Just open up! We're cold! We used to be inside too!" I shut my eyes and froze. The knocking stopped, but seconds later, it was inside. That same voice whispering in my ear, "You didn't open, now we will." I got a new job as a system administrator in an old research institute, the kind that still runs on funding from the Soviet days. The computers were ancient, the internet worked through modems, and half the employees were basically retired in spirit, if not in age. My first week was uneventful, fixing printers, replacing cables, listening to stories about how things worked just fine before the internet. One day they asked me to clean out a locked server room. The keys were kept in a safe, and the room hadn't been opened in years. I unlocked the door. Inside, dust everywhere, the hum of old fans, and in the corner, one computer, still on. It was an old system, early 2000s maybe. The monitor glowed, the desktop was open, but it wasn't empty. There were dozens of folders, each named by date. Some had today's date. One was titled 060325. I opened it. Inside, screenshots. The first image showed my desk. From above, like it had been taken from the ceiling. I backed away. Next file. Me again, typing a report. Same clothes I was wearing today. I opened the folder from 060225. Photos of other staff members. One in the bathroom, another smoking on the balcony. All shot secretly. Different angles, as if someone had been watching all of us. I thought maybe it was some internal surveillance setup. But then I found a folder labeled Logs, text files. One read, "He entered. Start identification." Next one, "He's looking. Create another." Suddenly the screen flickered. A new folder appeared on the desktop. "He's inside." I shut the PC off. When I got back to my office, my own laptop had a new folder, titled Follow Him. Before I could delete it, the cursor moved on its own. Open the folder. There was a video of me, right now, shot from behind. I turned around. No one was there. I quit the next day. But even at home, every night a folder appears on my personal computer with a new video, with today's date, and a label, watching. This happened 3 months ago, and I still only take taxis. No metro, no trains. Never again. I was coming home late, stayed too long at a friend's place. It was nearly midnight when I caught the last commuter train. In the car, there were only a couple of students and an old man by the window. I always ride in the last car. It's quieter. After a few stops, the students got off. I was alone. Well, almost. The old man was still in his seat, dozing. The train stopped. Outside, a platform. But no lights, no signs. Just a message scratched into the metal near the door. Do not get off. And yet, the doors slid open. I looked at the old man. He looked right back. Don't get off, he said. That station's not real. I nodded and stayed seated, but no one got on. Outside the window, people stood, many of them, all staring directly at the train. They didn't move. They wore white face masks, no mouths. Their clothes, identical. Gray, seamless, like hospital gowns. Then, one of them raised its hand and pointed at me. The old man jumped up and pulled the emergency brake. Run, he shouted. Go through the tunnel. I didn't understand, but I ran. The doors slammed shut on their own. I jumped down onto the tracks, climbed between the cars, and escaped onto the opposite side of the platform, but it wasn't there, just fog and a road leading into nowhere. I kept running. Eventually, I reached a highway, flagged down a truck. The driver asked, "How'd you get out of Loop 3? What? He went quiet. That station, it existed once. Closed in '89. A whole train disappeared there. What are you talking about? They say sometimes it reappears. And if you board it, you never come back. I looked behind us. Through the trees, I saw the faint glow of headlights. But there was no sound. It wasn't moving. It was waiting. I never liked libraries, especially the old ones. Dusty, creaky floors, books no one's touched in years. But work is work. I'm an archivist, and I was hired to help inventory a regional library's basement storage before demolition. It felt like something out of a horror film. Dim ceiling lamps, the scent of mold, and rows of locked cabinets filled with forgotten books. I was about a third through when I found a notebook. Its cover was peeling, and on the front, scrawled letters, Dream Journal. No author, no date. I opened it at random. March 12th, she stood by the window, pale face, empty eyes. I couldn't move. She said, "You won't wake up." March 13th, same house. Now there are mirrors in the corners. Each reflection shows me, but my eyes are wrong. I'm not sure who I am anymore. March 14th, silence, even in my thoughts. At first I thought it was just angsty nonsense, but it got stranger. The dream started repeating. Phrases were identical. Then one entry said, March 18th. This dream isn't mine. It doesn't belong to me. I woke up screaming, tasted blood, smelled onions. I didn't go to sleep. It came anyway. I put the notebook away. But that night, I dreamed exactly what I read. The house with windows, the woman, the mirrors, and the sharp, pungent smell of raw onions. I woke up soaked in sweat and found, on my pillow, a page, torn straight from the notebook, with a new entry. March 19th. Now he's mine. He took my dream. I don't sleep anymore. I returned to the library. I was going to burn that cursed thing. But the notebook was gone, even though I had locked it in a drawer. Where the drawer had been, it was a hole, as if someone had carved it out of the wood. And in the main reading room, there was a copy of the notebook on every desk, all open to March 20th, and in every single one was my name. I work as a video editor at a small regional TV station. We often go through old footage, news from the 90s, early broadcasts, anything rare for retrospectives. Most of the archive is just dusty boxes filled with old VHS tapes, labels faded, gear barely holding together. One day I was tasked with digitizing several tapes from 1995. I took home 3 boxes. I have an old VCR and a capture card set up. 2 of the tapes were standard stuff, morning updates, fires, traffic reports. But the 3rd tape had no label, just an old black cassette, hand wound with a little note inside the case. Do not view, saw 2395. So, obviously I watched it. It started with static and noise. Then, video. The camera was shaking like someone was filming in secret. A man dressed in black stood in front of what looked like an old warehouse. He stared directly into the camera and said, "If you're watching this, I didn't make it. Don't open the door. Please, even if they ask." Cut. Glitch. The scene changed. The camera was now inside the building. A hallway, bare walls, dirty floor, flickering lights above, and then a child's laugh. I skipped forward. The image briefly showed a strange figure in the corner. Not quite human, elongated, with blurred edges like a shadow standing upright. Then more glitches. The man again, now covered in blood. "She's in the TV," he whispered. "She sees you. She's already close." I ripped the tape out of the VCR. For a few seconds, everything was quiet. Then, my television turned on by itself, static on screen, and a shape, reflected in my own image. The next morning, I brought the tape back to the station, told them I found nothing useful, put it back in the box. But later that night, when I opened my laptop, a window popped up. Play again? I'm a geologist. Sometimes we get sent on expeditions to survey terrain, take readings, search for signs of mineral deposits. This time, there were 3 of us. Me, Dmitri the engineer, and our driver, Sashko. The region was remote and long abandoned. The map we had was outdated, and there was no cell service for miles. We were driving through an overgrown forest road when we saw a dip in the ground, like a cave-in. Surrounding it were decayed wooden beams, the remains of a collapsed entrance. "That looks like an old mine," Dmitri said. But according to all documentation, there was nothing here. No records, not even a dot on the map. Beside the hole, we found a rusted metal sign, barely readable. "Do not enter. Shift. Never returned." Sashko stayed with the truck. Dmitri and I went to check it out. We shined lights into the entrance. A tunnel sloped steeply downward into darkness. The weirdest part? The air coming from inside was fresh, like someone had just exhaled. Dmitri said, "Let's go down a few meters just to take a look. I've got a flashlight." We descended. At first it was just rock, old rails embedded in the floor. Then came wooden supports, and then silence. Not just quiet, a complete oppressive silence. I could hear my pulse in my head. It felt like the whole space was breathing with me. Dmitri moved ahead. I stayed by the ladder. A minute later, he called out, "Check this out," on the wall. Handprints. I walked over. There, in the dust on the walls, were dozens of handprints, all frantic, clawed, desperate. And then they just stopped, as if the hands had vanished into stone. "We should go back," I said. But behind us, the ladder was gone. In its place was a solid stone wall, as if it had never been there. And from the deeper tunnel came a sound, metal tapping, faint, rhythmic, steady, like someone was still working down there. That evening, we went into the forest, just for a walk, to get some air. There were 3 of us, me, my brother Sasha, and his girlfriend Vika. We stepped off the main trail just as the sun dipped below the horizon and wandered deeper until it got truly dark. "Look," Vika pointed. "Something's glowing." Between the trees, maybe 20 meters away, small lights flickered. White, steady, like candles. No smoke, no smell, just hovering there. We glanced at each other. Flashlights, maybe? Who would leave them out here? Vika stepped forward first. I wanted to stop her, but curiosity got the better of me. We moved between the trees and saw more lights, dozens. lining up like a path, leading deeper into the woods. "Don't go," Sasha said, and this feels wrong. Vika was already 5 meters ahead and she smiled. Too wide. "Guys," I whispered. "That's not Vika." The thing turned. It looked like her, but its skin was pale. Its eyes were pitch black and its lips thin and stretched too far. It stared at us, and from between the trees more of them came, just like her, glowing. They moved silently, no footsteps. They glided. We ran as fast as we could. They didn't chase, they just watched. When we made it to the road, a car almost hit us. The driver jumped out shaken. "Where is she?" "Who?" "The girl walking between you two. There were only 2 of us. Vika never left the woods." That's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll keep delighting you every day with new horror tales. See you tomorrow.